In an earlier video, I discussed a small, practical pistol safe, but in this video, we're going to take a look at a larger, more costly gun/rifle safe. And while we're doing that, we're going to stay on the theme of protection from theft and/or unauthorized access, especially if there are children in the house. Hi, this is Steve, Critical Dreamer Channel. Thanks for being here. This is the Gardall GF5517 B-C. Now let's start out with fire rating. This safe is fire lined and is fire tested at 1200 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Now I could do a separate video about fire testing, UL ratings, all that stuff, but simply what's most important to understand when deciding on what kind of safe is best for you is to know what it is you're going to be storing in it. For example, if you're planning on safeguarding paper documents, you need to protect the contents that are inside the safe from extremely high temperatures from that fire and for an adequate amount of time. If not, what happens? Well, your safe will remain intact, but all your documents inside will become a pile of ash, and that's no good, right? Okay, maybe I'll do a video on fire rating in the future, but for now, let's move on with some specs. On the outside, these are powder coated. This, of course, is the matte black finish. This tends to be the most popular color. A lot of people like the classiness of the black with the gold. But this is also available in maroon or hunter green. May take a little longer to get those colors because they're not as popular, or they might not be as readily available, but they are available. The outside dimensions, the height is 55 1/4 inches. The width is 17 3/4 inches, and the depth is 16 inches. This safe weighs 265 pounds. The main application of this safe is it'll fit into a standard closet, and that's what it does well. It's not too big, not too wide, not too deep. You can put into a regular closet in your home. It's out of the line of sight. It can be bolted down, as we'll see in a couple of minutes. And that's the job that it's sized to do well. Now let's get the door open and take a look. The inside is fully carpeted. And on the dimensions inside, the height is 53 inches, the width is 16 inches, and the depth is 11 1/2. There's one carpeted shelf and one carpeted notch divider, and that keeps the barrels of your rifles spaced evenly. Both the shelf divider and the shelf and the divider are both adjustable in height because there are standards and clips in there that run top to bottom. So you can move those, move the shelf and the divider up and down from the top, almost all the way to the bottom, or you can take them out completely and just use it for storage. On the floor, as you can see, those 4 black plastic circles, those are plastic caps. Under those caps are 4 factory drilled holes. So what you can do is pop those caps out. They just pry out very easily. And if you do that, you can use the factory supplied lags and anchors if you're bolting into concrete, and then your safe is properly secured. I said properly because that's the proper way to do it. In addition to the fact that I always recommend any safe be bolted or secured to the floor or some other permanent structure, this safe, because of its height, can be top heavy, which is even more of a reason to bolt it down. As you can see on the inside of the door, there's a built-in pocket organizer or pouches and pockets. Also, the locking bolt system. It's a 3-way locking bolt system using 5 active 1-inch diameter bolts. You can see on the top the silver thing there, and then going down the right-hand side, there's another one, then one in the middle, one on the bottom, and then there's one on the bottom of the door that you can't see. Those are the 5 active 1-inch diameter bolts. If you look on the left side of the door, you can see 3 black, they are black, they look a little silver in the video, but 3 sticking out. Those are fixed, and what those do is when the doors close, those enter into 3 holes in the structure of the safe, and that helps prevent an attack from the hinge side of the door. So somebody tries to attack where the hinges are, thinking they're going to pry the door open from the opposite side. That locks that down in there. Now let's take a look at the dial pack. This is a Sargent and Greenleaf combination dial, and you can see right there there's a keyway, the cylinder. This combination lock comes with a key. You can put the key in there, you rotate the key, and that locks up the dial so it can't be manipulated at all. Just locks it down. You can't turn it, can't move it. And for whatever reason you want to do that, if you're shipping it or you just want to have that little extra security in the dial, you can lock that down, and that takes care of that. Now, although this safe is also available in the S&G digital keypad, I've always preferred and recommended the mechanical dial over any digital keypad. I've discussed that in an earlier video. That's both my personal and professional opinion, but go with what you like. Never have I ever deterred anybody from using a digital keypad, even though I prefer the mechanical ones, because the most important thing is the protection from theft and unauthorized use, especially, again, if there are children in the house. So whatever you like, go for it, as long as you do something to lock it up. There are a couple of caveats with this safe, though, and I found that out. Seem to be two different versions going on. One version, and the safe is a little less money, of course, has a cheaper combination dial. This one that you see has the S&G combination. The other one uses what it's listed as a Lagard, L-A-G-A-R-D combination dial. The industry standard and the most reliable is the S&G. The difference you can sort of tell because of the dial sequence. On an S&G like this, you have a 3-number combination. First number, you'd rotate 4 times to that number, then you'd rotate the opposite direction to the second number 3 times, and then go to the last number, rotate the opposite direction 2 times, and then what you do is you rotate the dial the opposite direction again past 0 until the dial stops, and at that point the bolts can be retracted, the door can be opened. On the cheaper combination, the way those work, it's a 3-2-1. You rotate first number the 3rd time, rotate the other direction, second number the 2nd time, then you rotate the opposite direction, the 3rd number the first time you come to it, and then that's all you do. At that point, the bolts can be retracted and the door can be opened. That's the sign, and that's the difference of the two different types. The S&G lock is definitely a smoother, more almost silkier feeling locking mechanism, which is why Sargent & Greenleaf is and has been so respected and trusted for decade after decade. One other very important thing to consider regarding user friendliness. The better combination locks like this S&G that you see, the combination can be changed. On the cheaper ones, you can't do that. So if you have an incident where you need to change the combination, or if you want to change the factory preset to something that's a little bit easier for you to remember, you can do that with a combination lock like this with this S&G. And you know, this may need to be done by a professional if you don't have any experience doing safe changes, but at least it can be done on the better combination, unlike the other. And yes, the cheaper one, the cheaper version is less expensive. You take that into consideration based on how much money you want to spend, and that's fine. But remember that if you go with a cheaper dial, what you get from the factory is what you're stuck with, usually for good. Just wanted to bring that up. The other caveat, on the other version of this, let's open that door again. As you saw, this has the mounted pouch organizer. On the other version, that door panel is carpeted just like the inside of the safe, but the pouches are an applied Velcro strip. It just kind of slaps on there. I guess that's good if you want to be able to rip it off the door and you can use it somewhere else for storage and you don't even have to put it on the door. Good, bad, or indifferent, I'm just letting you know that there are a couple of differences I've seen in the two different versions. Other than that, they both accommodate the same amount of stuff that you put in there. The other thing on the inside, if I haven't mentioned it, the factory says that it will accommodate 11 rifles. Well, if you're going to start putting scopes, sights, accessories, all that stuff on your rifles, it's going to very quickly start limiting the amount of room you have in there, and it's going to limit the amount of rifles you can put in there. It's going to cut that down. So if I didn't mention that earlier, I just want to emphasize that. People get this safe. It's a great safe. They think, great, I can put 11 rifles in. well, you got 4 rifles with scopes and all kinds of stuff on it, all of a sudden you can fit 8 or whatever. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, this is a great safe for a lot of different applications. Okay, this is Steve, Critical Dreamer channel. I appreciate you being here. This is the Gardall GF5517 B-C rifle safe. Be present, be mindful, and remember, it's all about the harmony.